Okay, I'm assuming that I'm live here. Let me see. Let me look at the docs. I want to see the YouTube chat. Okay, let me see if I can get the chat going. I can see the damn chat. All right. let me go. Let me see if this is streaming right. I'm gonna double this up on my phone real quick. I'm going live here. I don't go live much, so y'all have to bear with me if I'm a little. Oh snap! That ain't even it. If I'm a little. Give me 1 second. If I'm a little amateurish at this. Where the heck is my? Oh, here it is. It says I'm streaming. Hold up. Live. Okay. So anyway, Donald Trump, Donald Trump shows up. Now I have to cover this stuff because people. Let me make sure I'm looking good here, my camera. People are so. I have to go live with this. Because people think that whenever Donald Trump shows up and starts talking about black people, it all goes wrong. I know he doesn't like black people. I know he never did like black people. You know what I mean? And, to some people, that's not a deal breaker. But to me, I'm mostly black. That's a deal breaker. It said I'm streaming, so let me see. It says y'all can hear me. All right. It says y'all can see me. So I'm gonna go with it. Let's go. Let's get it started. All right. I can't hear nothing. Okay, let's see. He's at the National Association of Black Journalists. Did they That's Harris Faulkner. I ain't gonna lie, I'd hit Harris Faulkner, Jar Jar Binks looking ass. I would.
Donald Trump. This discussion continues a decades-long tradition during election years of inviting journalists to discuss the policies and their impact with the candidates who are running for president and the impact of those policies, especially in black communities. Former Presidents George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Bill Clinton have attended the NABJ conventions either as presidents or as presidential candidates in past years. NABJ is currently in conversation with Vice President Kamala Harris's team to schedule a Q&A either in person or virtually in September. As journalists, we use opportunities like these both to inform our reporting, but also to help voters understand the choices that they face in a consequential and historic election year. NABJ has partnered with PolitiFact to fact-check this conversation in real time. You can access that feed on social media using the hashtag NABJFactCheck. Again, the hashtag is NABJFactCheck. We have a lot to get to, and we do not want to waste any time, so let's bring out the former President of the United States, the Republican nominee for president, former President Donald Trump.
Now, is it just me? Hold up. I need to use it. Is it just me? Or, I mean, is it just me? Or is that the wrong music for Donald Trump to come out on? I hope my live ain't trash. I can't find it on here.
Just got BBC. Thank you. How are you? Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did.
The elephant would be your big ass. Actually, Donald Trump looks like he's losing some weight, so I'm gonna raise him off of him.
It was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came.
Roast his ass. Roast his ass.
Names about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama.
Okay, I just checked. I'm live. Y'all see me. Roast his ass. Make sure my microphone working. I hope this thing trash. Yeah. Roast his ass. Yeah. Hold on. Rewind that.
From. You have used words like animal and rat. President, we so appreciate you.
Lady, you could come to my house and eat Thanksgiving, any Thanksgiving, and I'll let you cut the first piece of turkey. I'll give you the big piece of chicken. She kind of sexy though. I might give you a little bit more than that, but.
Giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabbit to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language?
Cause he think we stupid. Man, hold up. Wait, hold up. Let me see if I get this in a better spot. Hold up. Oops. Sorry, y'all. I'm not doing this too well. Bear with me, peoples. Bear with me. Bear with me, peoples. Bear with me. You heard that? Now, see, anybody black that'll vote for Donald Trump don't respect themselves. That's all true. I've been knowing Donald Trump ain't like niggas, black people for man, since I don't know when. I've been knowing that since the 90s. I got homeboys from up in New York used to tell me how Donald Trump used to run gallivanting around New York, doing all kind of drugs that people don't know what he used to do. I'm sure he's too old to do them now. And sexually assaulting women, SAing women, raping them, grapes, all that, man. Anyway, let's keep this going. You heard that question?
Language like that.
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you?
See, and that's that. As soon as you hit him with some truth, as soon as you hit him with a question where he got to sit up there and say how big of a scumbag he is, he sit down and turn around and tell you you're a horrible person. He does that all the time. That was a great question, lady. Great question. Matter of fact, let's hear it again. Ask that punk bitch again. Same thing. Hold up.
Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network.
You think everybody fake news that asks you real questions, stuff that you actually done. Then he want to say you're fake news.
Mr. President,
Nah, you a big fake fat ass bitch. That's what you are. Yeah, I said it.
Appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
We should. He's not trustworthy.
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit.
Anybody that uphold his feet to a fire, if you ain't saying yes, Donald Trump, yes, whatever, he think you fake news. Well, I'm fake news too, you big red tie fat fuck. Oh Lord, I used the F word. Excuse me, y'all. I'm gonna try to clean up my language.
I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country.
Like what?
Including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest.
That's BS. That's BS, but let's keep it going. And then what kind of employment opportunities, huh? I know you ever look at his cabinet? You ever look at Donald Trump's cabinet, anybody around him? Where are the black people? What are employment opportunities? What, so good, what, shine your shoes?
Programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and you know, and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money, they were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a...
Okay, so he's talking about that little budget he had. So he cut that I think that started under George W. Bush, and I think he tried to cut it out of the bill. It's some type of funding of black HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities. This butthole, or this asshole, I'm gonna say, I can say asshole. This asshole cut out the budget for black colleges because you know that's what he think about black people. And then the Congress made him put it back in. So he put in $250 million for historically black colleges and Hispanic service institutions, which I think almost every college in the country is Hispanically serving institution. So, and I think like 85, let's just say $90 million of that money went to historically black colleges. All right. Guess how many black colleges they have in the United States of America? More than 100. So each black college got less than $1 million. Now, when you got a big black college, $1 million don't go far when you're trying to keep the light. You got to pay the police. You got to pay the campus police. You got to pay the utilities on the black colleges. You got to pay, you got to pay the people to cut the grass. You got to pay the professors. You got to pay, the cafeteria workers. You got to buy the food. Whatever. And that $1 million ain't gonna go very far. So that wasn't nothing but a couple pennies to each black college university. And he said that he's done more for black college universities. By the way, Joe Biden was giving them almost $7 billion. Now, who done more? But anyway, I ain't a big fan of Joe Biden, but this is just something that I've researched.
Very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step
tell
further.
the truth.
I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. it turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, you know, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late. Just so we understand, I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something
Mr.
was
President,
wrong.
I would love
I think
you
it's
to
a
answer the
very
question on
nasty
your rhetoric
question.
and why you
I have
believe that
answered the
black voters
question.
should trust you with another
I
4
have been
years.
the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
That motherfucker Trump, boy. Trump will say anything. Oh, Trump, boy. I have been the best president since Abraham Lincoln to the black population. You blacks, I have a black friend. You blacks ought to be grateful that I was president. Man, get your punk ass. You a lying son. Boy, this lying mouth, man. Well, I'm trying not to curse. That's why I'm stuttering. I'm probably not making any sense. So let me just keep playing the video.
President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act.
For you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your off Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act.
For you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work, in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words.
Then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that?
He just said it.
Sir, I'm asking you a question,
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me if you
I
would.
just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So, I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly, very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She is always...
Now, that's one of the few things that Donald Trump has said that I actually believe is true. One of the few things. Yeah, buddy. Kamala Harris, she comes across as somebody who's opportunistic and will throw her black side under the bus as soon as it was convenient. And then, I'm black as soon as it's convenient. She comes across that way. Kamala, from Joe to his we do it great in America.
You know what?
As a black
I
woman, she went to a
respect either
historically black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do
And
you
I
believe that
think
she is...
somebody should look into that too when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some
I really
Republicans have
don't
said?
know. I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fantastic person who just interviewed me at length.
Yeah, that's that, because for Harris Faulkner is a white kiss Whitey's ass all the time. Harris Faulkner, you see, I'm not a politically correct show. I'm just keep it a buck with you. I'm just shoot straight. Harris Faulkner kissed Whitey's ass, and everybody on Fox News kissed Trump's ass because they making bread and getting ratings and keeping their jobs and keeping those millions of dollar checks rolling in off his back. That's why, and he knows that. That's why every time they say anything bad about him, it's just a little bitty thing like, "Oh, Trump, your hair is out of place." Or they let somebody like Pete Buttigieg on, or they put on Kamala Harris. They were like, "No, why are you putting on?" He gets mad at them and throw them under the bus because he knows that he's the lifeblood of Fox News, and that's why he kissing. They all kiss each other's butt and kiss up to him. And Trump likes anybody who kisses his ass. That's why he would hate me, because I would kick his ass. I'd kick him in it, but that's about it.
We had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that.
Well, you told me it was the longest one of your life, so we had a good discussion. Look, I want to talk about why you're here today. I mean, it is not...
Travis Faulkner, Jar Jar Binks looking at. Now I ain't gonna lie, I'd knock her old ass down. I ain't gonna lie, but it'll be an angry session. Like, you know, cause I was like, yeah, you talking all that shit about kissing dump Trump saying, what's talking now? You know. But that's just me.
Lost on us how divided we are as a country. And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we were divided along the lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
Do you hear this motherfucker, man? What the hell is a black job? See, this is why I had to go live with this, man. And y'all, some of y'all silly ass niggas, some of y'all silly ass ninjas are gonna vote for this fool. What's a black job? Oh yeah, shine my shoes. Yeah, he wants Donald Trump say you can't. They coming over here and taking the shoe shine jobs. Yeah. Man, they coming over here and cleaning up houses and rooms. I'm just keeping a buck because I know several of them that do it. And they back in the kitchen cooking, they bar backs, and they out in the fields picking, doing the farming work. And I'm telling you, my race has done enough farming work to last 10 more generations. So they can have that job. I'm gonna sit here and broadcast. That ain't no black job. What's a black job? Well, y'all say this cat ain't racist. And I bet it's a white guy. What's racist about saying it's a black job? I mean, I think shiny shoes is a black job. Anyway.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
Thank you.
And they're taking the employment away from black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million people. I have a feeling it's much more than that. And everybody's been seeing what's happened. The first group of people, the black population, is affected most by that. And Kamala is allowing it to happen. She's the border czar. She's the worst border czar in the history of the world. There's never been a border czar like this. She's never even essentially been. She said she was there once, but not the right part of the border. So she was a border czar.
Anyway, I live in Texas. Okay, I've been down to that border many times. People been coming across that border since the first time I went down there was I'm finna say my age. I'm not finna do that. It was a long time ago, okay? The first time I went down to the Texas-Louisiana, no, my bad. The Texas-Mexico border was, okay, I'm gonna say my age. Bill Clinton was in office. Okay. So y'all know how old I am. Man, people been coming across that border, and I remember I walked across that border without a passport and walked back across. And only someone asked me, like, hey, where you going? I was like, and I told him where I was going. He's like, all right, bye. Walked right across the Rio Grande River. So, you can't do that anymore after 9/11. I know that, but that border has always been open. I mean, not open, but it's been people crossing that border. It's still people crossing that border. A fact, last week? Last week, a little lady from Haiti that couldn't speak a lick of English told me she spoke a little Spanish, which I'm almost fluent in Spanish. She showed me her paperwork. They had came from Haiti. She had came from Haiti up through Mexico somehow and crossed the border. Another fun fact, about 3 or 4 years ago, right before COVID. I met another lady that came. I met a dude that crossed over from. I want to say he crossed over from El Salvador or Honduras. El Salvador or Honduras, and he had been sitting in Mexico, and he crossed over, and he was living up in Baltimore, Maryland for like 4 or 5 years. No. Yeah, 4 or 5 years after that. I think he's still there. Yeah. So I don't want to. Was it Baltimore or DC? Something like that. I forget. But anyway, long story short, under each I could probably give an example of I met someone who illegally crossed that border, and that's just me personally. In each of the last maybe 5 presidents, Trump. So that border's always been open. Anyway, y'all ain't trying to hit. I'll get off my soapbox. Y'all probably came here to hear Trump and his bullshit. So sorry.
He's done a horrible job. These people are coming into our country, and they're taking black jobs and Hispanic jobs, and frankly, they're taking union jobs. Unions are being very badly affected.
What about the white jobs? Black jobs, Hispanic jobs, why they not taking white jobs? They can't get white jobs? I mean, I'm just wondering, what's up with this black job stuff, man? And y'all saying this cat ain't racist? Just because he don't say the N-word, just because he didn't say the N-word doesn't mean that he's speaking of jobs being of a certain class. Those are black jobs and Hispanic jobs. Those are the ones that the people coming over the border who can't speak English are taking. Because I'm keeping a buck. Most of the people coming over the border don't speak very much English. Trust me. Neither one of those people. Oh, I think he did. The guy that lived in Baltimore, I think he did. But the other ones didn't. Anyway.
By all of the millions of people that are pouring into our country. And one thing, as we discussed, many of these people are coming in from mental institutions, from prisons, from jails. They're gang members in other countries. Other countries are setting loose their prisoners. They're opening up their prisons and their mental institutions, and they're taking their bad people, drug dealers, gang members, and they're bringing them into the United States. And by the way, their crime rate is going down, and our crime rate is going to be a disaster.
Mr. President, I want to get into
our crime rate's going down too.
Address some of the issues with black communities. And I say that plural because we live.
And where are these nutcases? I ain't meeting these cats. 15 million people that are coming out of prisons and jails. Why do we have an epidemic of illegals doing crime here? They're not. So he full of shit, man. Trump. He'll tell you, man. Anyway, man, let's keep going with this BS. I don't know even when I went live. I knew it was gonna be some BS when I saw it pop up on my screen.
In communities of color that are different. We're not all the same. We don't vote the same. We don't think the same.
Sure.
It's not monolithic. So as you come here today, I want to talk about something that bursts, and this is the weight of the inflation on this country right now. The nonprofit Money Management International recently released data from its mid-year analysis that we have found a 52% rise in people who are seeking counseling for being in credit debt. They're paying for food that is sky high on their credit cards, and now they can't pay that off. The credit counseling nonprofit, MMI, as I said, is saying now that they've seen surges that they haven't seen since we were in a pandemic of people in financial trouble. Much of that falls on the shoulders of single moms, single black moms, when you look statistically. Yeah. How do you turn it around? What's your plan for the black community when it comes to money?
So,
all right, Harris Faulkner, let's tell the moms to do what you did. Go get you white zaddy, because that's what Harris Faulkner did. She got her white zaddy. She got her white zaddy. She ain't worried about being a single black mom. Well, this is what you should do. Now, Trump's finna say some BS, but I'm gonna tell you first, you black ladies. Try not to be single black moms. Try to change your whole attitude. People want to put it all on families and put it on black guys, but I mean, just go ask the single black mom, would they go screw with their baby daddy, and would they screw with their last black person? Would they screw with the last person that they screwed with last, their last boyfriend again? Most of them will say no. So they're picking poorly. You know, and it's real simple, black ladies. If you all are watching this, you want to know who you should be screwing and who not you should be screwing. The guy that you like to make you tingle, probably not. The person you should be screwing, black ladies, is what white ladies do. The one the guy that you will have a baby for. Yeah, because most dudes you will screw, you would have a baby for him, but he's sexy or whatever, he make you tingle, right? But the one that you will blame the baby on, that's the one you should be screwing. I know that's horrible for me to say that, but it's the truth. Let's go. Anyway, let's keep going.
First of all, it's very hard to hear you for whatever reason because of the fact that they have bad equipment, because I guess, this woman was unable to get the right equipment. But it's very hard for me to hear you, but I can hear every other word. It's very difficult, actually. But so I don't know if they can fix it or do something with it, but I'll do the best I can with it. The inflation is absolutely destroying our middle class, our working class, virtually every class. Inflation is a disaster in our country. Inflation is a country buster. It breaks every country. And we had, in my opinion, the worst inflation we've had. They say it's 58 years, but I think it's much more than that. It's been devastating. And if you just take a look at a lot of things they don't include, like interest rates.
Let me rewind.
Interest rates went from 2.4% to 10%, and you can't get the money. People can't buy houses. They no longer have the American dream. Young people. And our crime rate is going to be a disaster.
Mr. President,
That's too far.
credit debt. They're paying for food that is sky.
Yeah,
The inflation is absolutely destroying our middle class, our working class, virtually every class. Inflation is a disaster in our country. Inflation is a country buster. It breaks every country. And we had, in my opinion, the worst inflation we've had. They say it's 58 years, but I think it's much more than that. It's been devastating. And if you just take a look at a lot of things they don't include, like interest rates. Interest rates went from 2.4% to 10%, and you can't get the money. People can't buy houses. They no longer have the American dream. Young people, young black people, they don't have the American dream anymore. They can't buy a house. They can't borrow the money because of the cost of the money. They can't buy because of the cost of housing, because of the cost to build it, because of inflation. Inflation.
Now, inflation is happening, and that is true. But that is the product of several people. By the way, let me give some shout outs to people in the chat, man. Mr. Ali, shout out, I see you. Jalen White, shout out. And whoever else is in the chat, man. Y'all keep talking in the chat, man. Keep talking your stuff, man. I'm not gonna ban anybody for their opinion ever. Y'all talk your noise. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? We here to chat. We can disagree, and I ain't that dude that I ain't like Cynthia G or something. Everybody that come in there and say, your wig look like you was beating off dogs with it. She banned them, So anyway, shout out to y'all in the chat. So with this inflation thing, and the housing crisis, so y'all, if you remember the housing crisis of 2007 or 8, I think it started on 7, but I think they put it right at 8, and that caused the great recession right before Obama got in office. So with that housing crisis, that started even before then with Clinton, with those trick loans that everybody was doing. All right, so with that housing crisis, the Bush administration and the Obama administration was giving out those bailouts to those banks. Those banks went out and bought all the property, and instead of selling the houses, they're now sitting out renting them. So now they're controlling the rent through. Now I may not have all of the facts straight, but it's something like that. Now they're controlling the rent, where they're raising the rent rates, which happens to add to the inflation. Also, the companies, the airline companies, and some other companies. Anyway, let's go back to the banks. And with that, I think the Fed raises the interest rates for the most part, but the banks all got together and they just started raising prices on all kind of hidden fees and all that stuff just to get their bottom line. So That's been happening way before, even probably some of that is even before he got in office. So he's just gonna sit there like he ain't fix it in his 4 years, and he ain't gonna fix it in the next 4 years. He or Kamala, they both probably not gonna fix it. But I mean, you know. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Is a disaster, and it's destroying our country, and it's destroying the black community probably as much
So
or
what
more
do you do?
than any.
What's your plan?
You know what we have to do? We have to bring
That he ain't got a plan and he don't give a damn if the black community go away forever. Remember, we do have to go back to the S-hole countries. All those S-hole countries. He's talking about Haiti, black people, Dominican Republic, black people, Honduras, got a lot of black people. Those were the S-hole countries. Africa, all the African countries, black people. But he's like, why they don't come from countries like Denmark and Sweden and over there where he got his mail order bride from?
down the cost of energy, and that's going to bring down the cost of inflation. This was all started with a bad energy policy by Joe Biden. By the way, just if I might, I was running against a man named Biden. You probably saw that. And he was losing very badly in the polls, and then he had a rather bad debate. I would say it was a bad debate. I would say it was one of the worst debates in history. And his poll numbers crashed. And instead of saying, you know, let's keep going, and maybe something happens the other way, they said, oh, we're going to replace him. Let's just replace him. That's like you're in a fight, a prize fighter's in a fight. He's not doing where you say, let's bring in another fighter. So our whole campaign.
No, it ain't. No, it ain't. This motherfucker, man. Okay, Donald Trump, go get in the prize fight and see if it's like this election after somebody knock your ass out. You're going to be like, this ain't an election. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It ain't like no prize fight. You know, it's, look, the man bowed out the election. He bowed out the election. And they brought somebody else in. Now he goes from, and this Donald Trump, he goes from, he's pretty much almost a shoe-in to be elected, which I will agree with that. It would have been closer than he thought it was, but he probably was going to get elected because people just don't like Joe Biden. Either one, they don't like him, or two, they like him and they don't think they think he's losing his wits, which I don't like him, and I think he's losing his wits. So, but at the same time, you know what I mean. Long story short, Trump was gonna beat Joe Biden. Let's just keep it a buck. He probably was gonna beat him. Then they switched in Kamala Harris. Now the game's changed. Now he's behind, and it looks like if the election was held today, for sure, Kamala Harris will probably be president. And he knows that, and he knows where he's suffering at, and it's where she's strong at. The reason he lost in Georgia, because Georgia's one of the big states, is because of black women. Black women and black people handed them that election in Georgia. I mean, all those counties right outside Atlanta, right there, you know, where y'all, if y'all ever been in Atlanta, it's a lot of black women and black gay men in that area, and they voted for it was only 12,000 votes, 11,000 some change, and that's why he going to court, because he tried to call the Attorney General to get the election switched over in Georgia, which was a crime. But anyway, that's another story. But the black population handed him that election, that state of Georgia. And they also handed him the state of Pennsylvania. So, and they're probably going to do it again. So that's why he's bitching. Because anyway.
Was steered toward him, and now we have to steer toward him. But ultimately it's the same, because they have bad policy. They have policies of open borders, unbelievable open borders, horrible energy policies. They want to get rid of, as you say, gasoline in cars. They want to get rid of oil. They want to get rid of efficient.
He got to say that again. That was funny. You got to get rid of gasoline in cars. The way this dude talk is freaking hilarious to me. Goddamn Trump, boy. I can't get enough of this fool. Oh, man. I hate his guts, but well, I don't hate his guts. I don't know him like that. I don't like him at all. But man, this would be funny as hell to me. He get rid of gasoline in cars.
You're in a fight, a prize fighter's in a fight. He's not doing where you say, let's bring in another fighter. So our whole campaign was steered toward him, and now we have to steer toward it. But ultimately it's the same because they have bad policy. They have policies of open borders, unbelievable open borders, horrible energy policies. They want to get rid of, as you say, gasoline in cars. They want to get rid of oil. They want to get rid of efficient heating. Environmentally, what they're doing is killing our country. They're absolutely destroying our country. But the inflation is the thing that's hurting the black worker, the black population, and every other population within our country. Inflation is the worst it's been, I think, in over 100 years. And they'll fact check it. They'll say it's only 58. Whatever it may be, they don't add all the numbers. They don't add the really bad numbers, and you can check that too.
Trump will say any goddamn thing. Oh man, he said maybe 100 years. Didn't the Great Depression take place? Now he telling me inflation was better, is worse now than the Great Depression, or the Great? Yeah, okay, all right, well, maybe so. I didn't look that fact up. But, you know, Trump will make up 100 years, 200 years, 5,000 years. You know, that silly motherfucker. He don't know nothing. Who let his dumb ass out of their college? He cheated his way to get into Pennsylvania. I believe his sister said that.
But inflation, Harris, is absolutely destroying this country and the people in our country. Yes,
Mr. President, can I ask you another question
Yes,
that is also impacting black Americans?
and that's very clear now.
I'm sorry?
It's very clear. I hear you.
Okay. So Sonia Massey, someone from Illinois, an unarmed black woman, was shot the other day in her home by a deputy sheriff. The deputy has since been charged with murder. You said police would get immunity from prosecution if you win. Why should someone...
You hear that, black people? If you smoke a black lip, he'll get immunity from prosecution. He said that. You hear that? I remember that. I got a video coming out soon about it was a Sonia Massey. I got a video coming about that soon. That was a straight execution. He will get that big dumbass cop immunity that smoked that lady who put that pot with hot water down and was cowering. He wanted to smoke that lady because she said, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus." You know, old women, they say that silly stuff all the time. He's just like, you better put that pot down. And he shot her right in the face. Man, if he would have just shot the gun in the air in the roof, that woman would have passed out. Right. Anyway, we'll talk about that in another video. We're talking about Trump's stupid ass in this one.
like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity?
Immunity.
I don't know the exact case, but I saw something, and it didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. Are you talking with the water, right?
Yeah, well, police unions are not backing this person either.
Okay.
But again, why would...
Are they going to be charging the officer? I guess they're charging the officer.
So why should he receive immunity?
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends. It depends on what happens. I'm talking about people that are much different cases than that. We need people to protect ourselves. And by the way, in Chicago, as an example, a few weeks ago, July 4th weekend, they had 117 shootings and 17 deaths.
Every time they talk about freaking police crime, he talk about stuff going on in Chicago. Dude, that's his trigger. Like, as soon as they talk about police violence, pivot to black on black crime. Dude, it's white people in Texas I've talked to that has done that. I was like, what the hell is... Look, and this is my comeback, and this is what I do. They just like, well, and I was like, hey, the police brutality. He was like, well, what about black on black crime? I was like, okay, well, it's one thing. I say it's one thing. Okay, this is what I tell them. I was like, it's one thing when an outsider do it versus an insider do it. Okay, if I come into your house and punch your daughter, that's different as if her brother does it, right? Okay then. And then they shut the fuck up. They shut up then. Anyway, you gotta hit him with that. Oh, yeah, and I'm saying, and I tell them, I was like, so just because a black person kill him, does that give them carte blanche for a white police officer to kill him? Hey, well, hell, y'all kill yourselves anyway. Boom, let me do it. This is a video game or something, man. That's true. Man, and I got a lot of white friends and a lot of, and I'm talking about conversations that I'm having with them, but they be on some BS, man. Pivot to black on black crime. Here we go. Let me hear this bull.
Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. We need to have our police officers have the respect and dignity back. In this particular case, I saw something that didn't look good to me. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
So, can you get a little more specific back to the immunity question?
He still didn't.
Who would make those?
He still didn't answer the question about immunity. You gonna give these cops immunity? He gonna give that dude immunity to go smoke that little young lady. That dude facing first-degree murder. He's never gonna see the light again. Cause that's an open and shut case. If he gets off of that, I mean, goodness Lord. I mean, there's footage of him burning this girl. I mean, smoking this woman right in the face. And his awful. Anyway, we're not gonna talk about that. That's in another video. I got another video coming out about that.
Well, right now, for the most part, people are protected by their unions, by their police unions, or by their police departments.
Now, rewind that. Hold up. Let's rewind that. Now, bruh.
Why should he?
Sorry, y'all. I'm talking so much. I'm triggered by this orange mother. Anyway, with that being said, man, don't be trying to shoot this man. Y'all didn't. We just don't vote for him, and if you don't like him, and vote for him if you do like him, or if you think he does a great job. I don't think he ever done a great job about anything in his life. His casinos went bankrupt. You know how hard that is to do, to bankrupt a casino. I know dudes I know dudes that have kept a juke joint with a little gambling shack in the back so people could shoot dice and pool and play cards for money and play poker for money. It'd been open. It'd have been open since the Great Depression. Been passed through families, and he can't keep a casino open. I don't hear that.
Immunity.
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends. It depends on what happens. I'm talking about people that are much different cases than that. We need people to protect ourselves. And by the way, in Chicago, as an example, a few weeks ago, July 4th weekend, they had 117 shootings and 17 deaths. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. We need to have our police officers have the respect and dignity back. In this particular case, I saw something that didn't look good to me. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
So, can you get a little more specific back to the immunity question? Who would make those
well, right now, for the most part,
his ass, and he let that dude off the hook.
People are protected by their unions, by their police unions, or by their police departments. But I'm saying if I felt, or if a group of people would feel that somebody was being unfairly prosecuted because the person did a good job maybe with crime, or made a mistake, an innocent mistake. There's a big difference between being a bad person and making an innocent mistake. But if somebody...
Okay, what about that? What if that was an innocent mistake of that dude that was busting at your dome? That was what if that's an innocent mistake? You think we should give him immunity? I bet. See, everybody want to. You know what I'm saying? Do you hear this mother? And you heard that study. He said, if I felt, he was like, he said if I felt, because he wants to have power to give immunity himself, just so he can be like, he can let some people off, because he don't mind seeing unarmed black people get popped. You know what I'm saying? But what if somebody would have gave that well, they smoked. They killed his would be the person who tried to assassinate him. Which what if they gave him immunity? I wonder how he feel about that. He'd probably turn another color.
Made an innocent mistake. I would want to help that person.
What would those exceptions be? What would determine
you go after
mistake?
Somebody, and it's a very close call, and it's very dangerous, and they have.
I am glad that he don't have to make that decision. Look at him. His dumb ass can't even come up with if it's a close call, if it's a mistake. Look, man, it's a lot of people doing life behind a mistake. We don't get him immunity because they made a mistake. So don't get the cops a break, because then they gonna be even worse.
Policeman's life and woman is a very difficult thing, because sometimes you have less than a second to make a life and death decision, and sometimes.
Well, then ass shouldn't be police officers. Their ass should not be police officers. If they can't think quickly, if they can't handle the job, they need to get. You can't handle that heat. Get out that kitchen. You know what I mean? Get off the pot. If you ain't about to, you can't. If you can't rock and roll. See, I used to play sports. If I couldn't make split decisions while I was playing, I had to go sit on the bench or get kicked off the team. Be like, hey, get off the team. They get you out of there. That's the same thing. That's the same thing should happen with the cops.
Very bad decisions are made. They're not made from an evil standpoint, but they're made from the standpoint of they made a mistake.
So I want to follow up really quickly. I find it interesting because you do talk about reining in prosecutors, especially when it.
Harris Faulkner. See, that's how Harris Faulkner really want to talk to your punk ass. But see, she worked for Zaddy and Fox News, and she want to keep her job. Oh, pussy ass, she ain't nothing but a punk too.
Comes to prosecutors that are prosecuting you. Why doesn't that skepticism apply to law enforcement?
Well, I've been prosecuted because I'm a political opponent of two people that have weaponized our justice system. I've been prosecuted.
They ain't prosecuted. That's BS. You prosecuted because you committed crimes. They can't. What you think they'd have done with Obama if they could have politically prosecuted him? But Obama wasn't out here committing crimes, and they tried to get him for a couple other things. I think they tried to get him for them audit hits that he got. They was trying to ring him up for that, which he shouldn't have done that either. But I don't necessarily think he committed a crime on the books. The government, the federal government, ain't prosecuting him. It's the state of New York, and Donald Trump been doing should have been prosecuting the state of New York. Him, probably his dad too. They always been doing shady stuff up there.
Just won the big case in Florida. Everyone said that was the biggest case. That was the most difficult case, and I just won it. Now, Biden has a similar case, except much worse. I was protected under the Presidential Records Act. Biden wasn't, because he wasn't president at the time, and he had 50 years worth of documents, and they ruled that he was incompetent, and therefore he shouldn't stand trial. And I said, isn't that something? He's incompetent, and he can't stand trial, and yet he can be president. Isn't that nice?
Mr. President,
but they released him on...
Motherfucker, you incompetent and you could be president? Isn't that something? Man, let me turn off this phone. Y'all, excuse me. I don't know why these people want to start bugging me once I'm going live. Anyway. All right, that's enough of that. They gonna leave. All right, now. Anyway, let's keep going. It's going to take me 2 hours to cover this 30 minutes, this 15 seconds.
The basis that he was incompetent. They said he had no memory, and he was a nice old guy, but he had no memory, and therefore we're not going to prosecute him. I won the case, and it got very little publicity. I didn't notice ABC doing any publicity on it, George. George locked it up.
And so pointed right at her, man. I'm like, I don't work for ABC, you orange fucking. He do look like a baboon right there in that shot, don't he? Yeah, he look like a baboon. Let me get a picture of baboon. Hold up. Give me a second, y'all. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of baboon. Oh, man. I can't type no more. You can't tell me he don't look like this. You can't tell me. Give me one more second, y'all. God, that thing ain't working. You can't tell me that Donald, oh goodness Lord, that Donald Trump don't look like this, man. You can't tell me this motherfucker don't look like this, man. Come on, bro. You can't tell me that you can't tell me that Donald Trump don't look like that. Am I tripping? Am my eyes going bad? You can't tell me don't look like that dead pepper. Orange face. Oh man. Okay, let's keep going.
I'd love to move over on to
I
different
didn't notice
topics
you do any publicity on it at all. I won the case, the biggest case. This is an attack on a political opponent. I have another one where I
Sir, if
have
you
a
don't mind, I'd
hostile
love
judge.
to, we have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different
No,
topics.
excuse
if
you,
we
you're the
can.
one that held me up at 35 minutes, just so you understand.
If we can move on now to the state of the race, sir, I want to get back to the campaign.
Hey.
Senator J.
Say what you want to say about Trump. Trump can handle dialogue. He's very aggressive, and he will cut you. He will punch you where you got to get punched. That's why he beat all of the Republicans, by the way, because they were soft. And Trump don't even know how to not be like that. And it's gonna be some of his downfall, man. So because when he was in court, the judge was about to throw his ass in jail because he was up in there talking crazy to the judge. Trump will talk crazy to you.
Vance is your running mate. He's had a lot of controversy lately, and I want to read you a few things that he has said in the past. He said the Democrats running the country are a bunch of childless cat ladies who are miserable at their own lives and the choices they've made, and so they want to make the rest of the country miserable.
Hold up, time out. Who are the people that's childless cat ladies that's running the country? Who is he talking about? All right, so the president isn't even a lady. The vice president is childless. Okay, let's look up the rest of the people that are running the country. He must be talking. He's talking about y'all ladies in the Congress. That's childless. I think he's just talking about Kamala. He called her a childless cat lady. Boy, that's a low down. That's low down right there, man. Is he talking about AOC? What's the lady that's in the House from Minnesota? From Somalian descent. I forget her name. You talking about her? I think she got children though. I don't know. I don't be keeping up them ladies.
Two, he's not talking here about how great it is to be a parent. He's attacking what he says are the choices people are making to not have children. Did you know that he had these views about people who do not have children before you picked him to be your running mate? And do you agree with him?
No, I know this. He is very family oriented, and he thinks family is a great thing. That doesn't mean he thinks that if you don't have a family, it's not. I know people with families. I know people with great families. I know people with very troubled families. And I also know people with...
Me too. The Trumps, very troubled family. His dad was a scumbag, and they went down to him. He out here boning porn stars while his wife at home with babies. He also out here raping women. He has been found liable for taking coochie without consent. He's been found liable. This man let's just keep it a buck. Trump be raping bitches. And that's it. And that's who somebody finna vote for president. By all means, you condone it. And every woman who vote for him, they ain't got respect for themselves. So I won't respect you either. I said it. you condoning his behavior. You vote for him. And Kamala ain't much better, but she ain't worse as this one. You know, Kamala a hoe, but shit, Trump's a bigger hoe.
Families that didn't meet the right person. Things happen. You go through life, you don't meet the right person.
But he's not just talking about families here. He also says that people that don't have children should get less votes than those that do.
I'm just speaking for myself.
Is that your
and I think
campaign
I'm speaking for him too. He strongly believes in family, but I know people with great families. I know people with not great families that don't have a family, and the people without.
I bet he believes in families, but I bet he don't believe in families that are maybe minority families or LGBTQ families. I want to know if he believes in those families, where there are two men who have adopted and raised troubled kids or whatever, or two women who have done something similar. I know those type of families. Those people are really doing a service to the community by taking troubled kids and raising them as their own. I mean, I think that's a good thing. What do you think about those families? I'm off on the tangent. Let's keep the video running.
The family are far better. They're superior in many cases, okay? He's not saying they're not. What he's saying is that he thinks the family experience is a very important thing, and it's a very good thing. But that doesn't mean that if you grow up and you grow older and you don't meet somebody that would be wonderful to meet and would have been good, that's a bad thing. He's not saying that. My interpretation, you'll have to ask him actually, but my interpretation is he's strongly family oriented, but that doesn't mean if you don't have a family, there's something wrong with it.
Just one last point and then we'll move on. Just one of the bedrock principles of American life is one person, one vote. Senator J.D. Vance has suggested that someone who has children should have more votes than a person who does not have children. I just want to be clear here. Is that the position of your campaign?
Well, no, but it's not something.
Boy, they tearing J.D. Vance up. He probably going to get rid of him. If I'm telling you, if J.D. Vance, you mark my word, if J.D. Vance is known that he's dragging Trump on that ticket, Trump finna boot him. He going to say you're fired and replace him. Just like he does everything else with that high turnover rate when he was in office. He got rid of so many people. And that just says you about a president. The first thing he doesn't know how to get good people around him by his high turnover rate. So he's terrible at what he does. That's in business, being the president, whatever. You're supposed to run the presidency like a business, and you should be able to hire decent people that you don't have to fire in 2-3 months. Otherwise, you don't know what you're doing. But anyway, yes, if you have kids, you should have 2 votes. If your kid is over 18. Tell you, do what my mother did to me. You better go down there and vote for this person and that person, or I'm gonna whoop your ass. That's what my mother did to me.
Than I have ever heard before. I can tell you this. Right now you have illegal aliens coming into our country, many from prisons and many from mental institutions, and they want to give them votes. I don't think they should have votes. They came into our country illegally, and they're taking the vote away from all of the people in this room that have been here a long time, that have worked hard.
Man, kudos to this lady. I want to take her out on, is she married? Is that a ring on her finger? I might fly out to Chicago and take her out on a date. You know what I'm saying? And just and you just whatever she could come eat in my house for Thanksgiving, and take the big turkey, but take both turkey legs. She roasted his ass up. Said it. I want to see if she said it again. Hold up. Let me see.
That in many cases, and you'll see this happening, if I'm not elected, you're going to see it happening. If I am, you're not going to have any problem. But in this room...
Why he act like he the savior of everything? If I'm elected, if I'm not elected, you're going to just... Man, you ain't going to do shit.
Mental institutions, and they want to give them votes. I don't think they should have votes. They came into our country illegally, and they're taking the vote away from all of the people in this room that have been here a long time, that have worked hard, that in many cases, and you'll see this happening, if I'm not elected, you're going to see it happening. If I am, you're not going to have any problem. But you're going to see it happening.
So Donald Trump saying if he don't get elected, it's illegals been voting. or something like that. Dude, he all them 60-something lawsuits he brought up all got thrown out of court. Now one of them even made it past. Now one of them even got into Judge Judy's court, let alone anything else. Man, get your ass out of here. Trump always lying, making up shit. Orange bastard.
A long time, you're going to see the people in this room and people outside of this room are going to be losing their jobs to people that have come into this country illegally.
Mr. President, can we stay with just kind of the state of the race right now? Because I felt like that Vice President question.
I know barbacks in Texas. You know the barbacks, the one that have to bust the tables. Some of those people are illegal, or they ask for asylum and they got those jobs cleaning rooms. Ain't nobody lining up for those jobs, man. Ain't nobody lining up for those jobs. Those companies are hiring who they can do who will take that minimum wage and rock with it. And it ain't nobody in that audience lining up for that job. I can't say nobody. It's always somebody, but for the most part, people ain't lined up for those damn jobs, man.
Candidate question was right in there with that. So let's talk about J.D. Vance for a little bit. He's had some stumbles out of the gate. I don't know if you're hearing what we hear as reporters, but it's been a tough couple of...
Kiss his butt, kiss his ass, Harris Faulkner. I still bone her. I still would bone her. I'm not gonna lie. But kiss his ass, Harris Faulkner. Your ass kissing ass. But I'll never take her serious. You know, I pump and dump her. Yep.
Weeks for him. Why did you choose J.D. Vance?
Why
did you choose him? And I'm having a hard time hearing too.
I chose him
Everybody out there can, but it's hard.
I'll tell you why. I chose him because he's a very strong believer in work and the working man and woman, and especially the working man and woman who have been treated very unfairly, because you have many of them in this room. But you have many of those people that were treated very unfairly. They worked very hard and they were treated unfairly. He wrote the book that became a bestseller. The movie became a smash hit. He's a very smart guy without the benefit of having a family that has contacts, like a father that was well connected. He got into Yale Law School. He graduated in 2 years from Ohio State, summa cum laude. I mean, you take a look at, his career has been an amazing career. He started off at a level with...
He probably went to JUCO. He probably didn't start as a freshman. He probably went to community college and took some classes. If anybody graduated Ohio State summa cum laude in 2 years, come on, bro. He had some transfer credits coming in. That's just too many classes to take in 2 years. I'm just keeping it a buck. And on top of that, guess who else hired foreign workers to tend to Mar-a-Lago and his golf courses? Donald Trump.
A difficult family situation, very difficult with the mother and the father and everything else. He ends up going to Yale Law School, was one of the top students, became the head of the law journal. I mean, it's an amazing thing. He's a 4-year, he was in the military with great distinction.
Oh, how about Obama going to Harvard and being head of that law journal? I think it was a law journal or something like that, and teaching constitutional law. Well, why is that a great thing too? Nah, because he said that Barack Obama was a DEI hire.
For 4 years,
From King.
got out, went into business, became successful in business, very successful in business actually, did public offerings and other things. And I have to believe in that. I mean, he's somebody that was born in a rough situation. Most of the people know that situation because it was very well documented in his book. And I have a lot of respect for somebody that can get into Yale.
I bet your ass ain't read that book. Donald Trump didn't even read and write his own book.
And become one of the best students in Yale, that meets a young woman at Yale who was also outstanding, and they get married, they have a beautiful family, but he had he's made himself an amazing life. He then gets goes to Ohio, lives in Ohio, and he had my endorsement. That helped. But he wins the Senate. He becomes a United States Senator. So he's a United States Senator. And so, Harris, like I respect you for your success, I respect people for their success.
The reason I asked the question is because the last time you and I sat and talked was the day.
I wish I would ever interview. He think they nasty. He lucky I won't sit on the couch and interview him. He be ready to fight me, and I'll beat the dog shit out of him.
You were shot. We'd been together for much of that day. You left to go to Butler, Pennsylvania, and we didn't know what was next.
Yeah.
And 2 days after that,
I cannot understand your microphone.
I know, it is really hard for me
I
to
mean, it's just,
understand
I can understand you perfectly.
because
Whoa.
she's closer.
I can understand you.
Happy to hear that, sir.
But I can't
Really happy to hear
understand,
that.
Harris,
I have a few more questions.
because of the distance, and the mics are really in lousy shape, but I cannot understand
Are you
So,
asking a question?
what you're saying.
so what I wanted to say was the last time we spoke, you said some words that were prophetic because I asked you who you wanted to choose for vice president.
Yeah.
And you said normally it really wouldn't matter what they would, you choose somebody that you think has a future, that sort of thing. But you said these words 3.5 hours before an attempted assassination on your life. You told me that bad things happen, Harris, and that's why this decision is important this time. Bad things happen. You said it twice. When you look at J.D. Vance,
Like what? Bad things happen. What? J.D. Vance is supposed to fix it? Man, Harris Faulkner, you easily amused. I mean, I could say the sky is so, and she'd be like, oh, it's so prophetic. Nah, that's pathetic. Trump's pathetic.
is he ready on day one?
Does he what?
Ready on day one, if he has to be.
I've always had great respect for him, and for the other
The answer's
candidates
no.
too. But I will say this, and I think this is well documented. Historically, the vice president, in terms of the election, does not have any impact. I mean, virtually no impact. You have 2 or 3 days where there's a lot of commotion as to who, like you're having it on the Democrat side, who it's going to be, and then that dies down, and it's all about the presidential pick. Virtually never has it mattered. Maybe Lyndon Johnson mattered for different reasons than what we're talking about, not for vote reasons, but for political reasons, other political reasons. But
Yeah, because Lyndon Johnson was in on getting his. Well, he handed JFK Texas, but he also. It's rumored that Lyndon Johnson was in on JFK getting smoked.
historically, the choice of a vice president makes no difference. You're voting for the president, and you can have a vice president who's outstanding in every way, and I think JD is. I think that all of them would have been, but you're not voting that way. You're voting for the president. You're voting for me. If you like me, I'm going to win. If you don't like me, I'm not going to win.
I'm going to get my J.D. Vance question in.
JD Vance?
I'm going to get my J.D.
So, if you like me, I'm going to win. Trump, don't nobody like you, man, except for them. Somehow you've convinced a bunch of lunatics that you are a billionaire, one, and that I'm the only person that can save you from your way of life that used to happen back in the 40s and the 50s, when you could shoot black people and call them names and spit on them, and you won't go to jail. Now, they want to go back to that, and there's a small segment of the population want to go back to that, but I don't think it's a majority. So anyway.
question in. To your point and to Rachel's point, he, has a lot of opinions about childless women like myself or divorced people like yourself. Do you think, well...
They have roasted him on the cool. But I give Trump this much. He's sitting there taking the bullets and he's shooting a few back at him. I got to give him that much credit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no, pun intended, by the way. No pun intended about the bullets. I don't mean, people should be shooting at this man or anybody else for that reason or that nature. That it is bad. Do not shoot bullets at people. Unless they shooting at you first, then you got to do what you got to do. But Do not be out here trying to, just because somebody has a difference of opinion, going out trying to put a bullet in somebody. You see, Trump ain't shooting these ladies down. He's shooting them down with the comments, calling them awful women and stuff like that. He ain't pull out a gun, so don't pull out a gun on him. Call him an awful man, just like I do. You know.
I mean, my point
at
is
least
here.
it was said in a friendly manner.
My point is, do you think the party,
He corny as hell. But
the Republican Party,
Trump ain't really that
well,
corny. Keep it
myself,
Yes.
I'm going to get my J.D. Vance
Sure.
question in. To your point and to Rachel's point, he, has a lot of opinions about childless women like myself or divorced people like yourself. Do you think, well, I mean, my
But
point
at
is
least
here.
it was said in a friendly manner.
My point is, do you think the Republican Party is getting a little bit too judgy about people's lives when you think about abortion or when you think about what J.D. Vance is saying?
I don't think, look, I think that the Democrat Party is really the one that has the problem. I think they're radical on abortion because they're allowing abortion in the 9th month. They're allowing the
But I
death.
think it's
They're
about
allowing
freedom,
the death
right?
of a baby after the baby is born, based on
Sir,
the
that's
governor of
illegal in every
Virginia.
state in the
That's-
Based on the
country.
governor
I'm glad
of
somebody.
Virginia,
Executing a
they're
baby in
allowing the
every-
I'm glad somebody said it. Go look at one of my videos when I think I did the debate against Joe Biden. He said that he's saying having an abortion after the baby's born. No, that's called murder. That is called murder. And as a matter of a fact, I know a young lady that grew up with me in where I grew up. She had a baby and threw the baby in the trash can, and they put her on Texas death row. That's illegal in every state. That is called murder. He's just like, you been out. So, and who told him to say that? That's because he didn't sit up there and come up with that on his own. He never does that. He doesn't come up on anything because he's incapable of it. He listens to people when they tell him what to say. Who told him that? Anyway, let's keep going.
death
State
of
in
the
the country
baby
is illegal.
after it's born. They're
a crime.
allowing abortions in the 8th and 9th month. of
Well, Democrats
pregnancy.
have denied-
I think they're right. And I think the Republican Party is actually much less. I think I've made them much less radical, perhaps. But the Republican Party, what we're doing is bringing it back to the states where everybody wanted it. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservative, everybody wanted abortion.
That's another goddamn lie.
Brought back. They didn't want Roe v. Wade in the federal government. They wanted it. Everybody
But the
wanted
majority
it
of
back.
Americans oppose
Excuse
Roe
me.
v. Wade being
They
overturned.
don't
Multiple
know
polls have
about
showed that,
this.
sir.
Right now, they're voting. It brought it back to the states. Now, I happen to believe in the 3 exceptions. Ronald Reagan believed with rape, incest, life of the mother. I do. I think most people do. I think most Republicans do also. But if you take a look, right now they're doing, it's an amazing thing. Out of the federal government, it's in states, and people are voting. And I will say, Ohio is, let's call it a more liberal version, has been approved. Kansas, the same thing, a little bit surprising to a lot of people. But the people are now voting. And it's taking this issue that's been going on for 52 years and has torn our country apart, and it's giving it to the people to vote on. And they're voting. And
So I'm in Texas. As soon as that was overturned, it has been a disaster. It's women trying to book flights that don't got money. They didn't went over there and they didn't had a train ran on them, right? And they's like, oh man, I done got pregnant, and I don't know, one out of these 100 or so dudes, they had a train ran on them. So they was high out of their mind. They popped some ecstasy and some mollies or whatever they done. All these old stupid drugs. And then when they sobered up, they like, uh-oh. And they are doing all kind of, so they're over in Texas. It's illegal in all the way, I think the closest state is Nevada, where abortion is legal. And so they're doing a lot of flying over to Las Vegas. I think New Mexico is legal. And going up north, I think Illinois up north, and Illinois, New York, or Nevada. And I mean, and a lot of these ladies can't afford to go on a plane ticket. A lot of these ladies haven't even been on an airplane before. So it's been a disaster. And these ladies are going to extreme measures to do this type of stuff. You know, when they could be a safe, viable option with a doctor. Now look, and none of this is, you know, making decisions on abortion is hard for everybody in the party, but it's been pretty bad, man, in Texas. Anyway, let's keep going.
Many states have already voted. Others are in the process of voting, and it's bringing it back to the people and a vote of the people. And it's not at all radical. And again, you have to follow your heart. I happen to believe in the 3 exceptions. Most people believe in the 3 exceptions. Most Republicans believe in the exceptions. But they don't want to see an abortion in the 9th month or the 8th month. Almost every.
There's a 4th exception when they the baby daddy. And there's a 5th exception when their daughter come home pregnant from a big black BBC. From a BBC. Sure, Dad, I've been getting BBCs and I think I'm pregnant. Oh, that's another exception. So I don't want to hear that.
Everybody agrees to that. And they certainly don't want to see, in the case of the governor of Virginia, the former governor, I might add, who said, we set the baby aside and then we decide what to do.
That's another exception. Dad, I've been stripping and selling porn and doing porn.
What do? We execute the baby.
Can I?
That's a radical, horrible position. And some people want that. I don't want it. Most people don't.
Thank you. Can I just pivot really quickly to another question about, you brought up health, Harris. You're an active man.
What happened?
But if you win, you'll still be president at 82,
No.
which is older than Biden is right now.
But not
Would you-
mentally. Look, mentally.
Here's the question.
He's shot. But most people.
Would you consider?
Most people. I know many people.
Joe Biden, you brought that on yourself here. You talking shit about you, man. Joe, you brought that on yourself. Oh, you say Joe is shot. Oh man, I can't say I disagree. It's Trump, boy. Man, okay.
In their 80s and their 90s that are in great shape. Some of our greatest leaders. You look at throughout the world history, the greatest leaders, some of the greatest leaders in the world were in their 80s.
But here's the question. Would you consider stepping down if?
Hell no.
Or would you?
Absolutely.
And who would?
Hell no.
How would you make that decision?
I think I
Goddamn
know.
lie.
Look, if I came onto a stage like this and I got treated so rudely as this woman treated
Oh my
me,
goodness.
and I'm fine with it because she was very rude, sir. Very rude.
Oh man, I'm breaking.
She
Yeah,
didn't ask
you
me a
can answer the
question.
question.
She gave a statement. That wasn't a question.
I repeated
You
your
can answer the
statement, sir,
question.
actually.
You said you would. You would.
Oh,
make that
absolutely.
decision
If I
to step
thought
down.
that I was failing in some way, I want people to be shocked. I'll go a step further. I want anybody running for president to take an aptitude test. I think it's a great idea. And I took 2 of them and I aced them.
Well, can I just-
I took 2 of them. But let me ask you.
Yeah, yeah.
I would like to have people running for
4-year-old.
president. And I don't mean because
Dude, go look at the test he took. Dude, a 4-year-old could have aced those tests. Anyway, a 3-year-old probably. But let's look at the test he took. I was just like, "Are you serious?" You know.
they're 75 or 85. I think anybody running, I'd like to do it. People say it's not constitutional. I would like to have something passed where you can do it. I think we should know. I mean, I've watched what's happened in the last couple of years under this gentleman, and our country is a mess. We have inflation. We have the millions of people falling in. We have Afghanistan, which was the worst, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. What he has done to our country, and her too, what they've done to our country, she has been a horrible vice president. She's considered the
Mr.
Don't mean to
President,
interrupt you, but would you consider taking the cognitive test
Mr. President.
I would love to
and
do
make
it.
it public?
Well, I've already taken 2 of them, but I'll do it again.
Mr.
I
President,
suggested,
how do you intend to?
I suggested
I think that lady know his ass is dumb. And see, she's like, and making it public. Yeah, just sit down and put some cameras on him and take that kind of test. That's BS. No, he wouldn't do it. Trump dumb as hell. His sisters will tell you that too. His sisters will tell you he's dumb. You know. Go look at Diaper Don. Look up the Diaper Don, Noah Castler, and when he said that they had to put up cue cards and they had to break up the words so that Trump could read them. If he couldn't read them, he'd get mad and deflecate on himself. Yeah, look up Noah Castler.
let's take one.
Diaper Don, Noah Castler, and he talks about Trump on The Apprentice, and he can't read. You know what? Drop a link. Let me see if I'll drop a link to that. Let me see if I can drop a link to that. Give me a second. I'm here by myself running the show, so y'all gonna have to bear with me. I don't have a whole lot going on. God doggone it. Why did they ask me to sign in? I'm already signed in. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna drop a link. Noah, N-O-A-H Castler. Let me see if it's on here. Yeah, right here. How long is this one? In the whole, yeah.
Day. Most days he doesn't even go
It's this video right here.
down there. A normal president would be down there at 7 in the morning. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
he's recovering.
that's the dysfunction. Right. He's waking up slowly. He's tweeting. He's watching Fox News. And then he's putting on the stuff. He's doing the hair. It takes an hour. And then they strap him into the girdle. He can't do the girdle himself.
So wait, they help him into it?
Yeah, and that's how I saw it, because I walked by a room and they were lacing up the back. And it's hard. It's a hard plastic thing. It's like fucking Frankenstein. If you saw that guy without his hair, if the world saw him, he wouldn't be president tomorrow. Even his staunchest supporters would be like, no, fuck that. Get that guy out of here. Now, you know? I'll tell you what it looks like. Do you remember the Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Yeah.
There was that character Ian or something?
The blonde.
Yeah, the guy with like the gray hair on the sides and stuff.
That's what it looks like.
Yes, because it's all one long ass piece of hair. He hasn't cut in like 20 years.
You talking about riffraff?
Riffraff, that's the.
Yeah.
It looks like riffraff because it's one long fucking shank of hair that he brings up, and he's a master of it. He's an artist, you know, and he swirls it and does the can of hairspray and all this stuff and gets it in shape. But if you saw it without that, it would horrify you. And he also had a scalp reduction, and that's famously documented. That's why he attacked his first wife.
Ivana wrote about that in her book.
Exactly. He said he ruined her life, but he lifted his scalp up to make it seem less bald. And it left us.
Y'all want to know what Riff Raff look like? Rocky Horror. From Rocky Horror? That's Riff Raff. That's Riff Raff. Did he show up? Yeah, that's Riff Raff. They say that's how Trump looks. That's funny as hell.
Actually, Joe and I will go and take a cognitive test. Now, I'd do it with her too. I would do it with her also. You know what? She failed her law exam. She didn't pass her law exam, so maybe she wouldn't pass the cognitive test.
Mr. President,
Are you saying she wouldn't pass?
He's giving you the facts.
To be clear, you don't think
I'm
you're
just
how do
giving
you
you the
intend,
facts.
and
She didn't
look,
pass her bar exam, and she didn't think she would pass it, and she didn't think she was going to ever pass it. And I don't know what happened. Maybe she passed it. I
She
guess
did pass it.
There's a
She
man
did-
over
she
here.
did
I
in fact
think
pass
he must
it.
work.
Mr. President, I would love to ask you about January 6th. You called of law and order. When Time Magazine asked you if you would consider pardoning all the rioters, you said, yes, absolutely.
Sure.
You called them patriots. 140 police officers were assaulted that day. Their injuries included broken bones, at least one officer lost an eye, one had 2 cracked ribs, 2 smashed spinal discs, another had a stroke. Were the people who assaulted those 140 officers, including those I just mentioned, patriots who deserve pardons?
Well,
Thanks
about
for the
5
question.
days ago, we had an attack on the Capitol, a horrible attack on the Capitol. You saw the people that were protesting and spraying these incredible monuments, bells, lions, all these magnificent limestone and granite with red paint, red spray paint that will never actually come off, especially in the
Answer the
limestone.
question.
It will never, I'm a builder, I know about this stuff. It'll never, you'll see it in 100 years from now. They viciously attacked our government. They fought with police. They fought with them much more openly than I saw on January 6th. What's going to happen to those people? What's going to happen to the people in Portland that destroyed
But sir, my
that
question
city?
is on
What's
those.
going to happen to
My
the
question
people
is
that
on
tried
those
to burn
rioters
down?
who assaulted.
What's
Bring us
gonna
Chicago
happen?
again.
Oh, absolutely, I would.
You
If
would
they're
pardon
innocent,
those-
if they're innocent, I would pardon them.
They've been convicted.
And by the way, the Supreme Court just well, they were convicted by.
Tear his ass, roast his ass. You know what I'm saying? Put it. Let's see. This is how people should question a full of shit, full of crap president, ex-president. This is how you question him. You know what I'm saying? That's BS.
A very tough system. How come the people that tried to burn down, people that took over a large percentage of Seattle, how come nothing happened to them? How come the
But
people
sir, we're
that,
talking
how
about people
come
that
the
were
people-
seen
no,
beating
We're
officers
talking
with
about federal
flagpoles,
buildings.
dragging them down the stairs. They're on
They
video.
try-
Have you would pardon those rioters?
They shot a young lady in the face who was protesting. They shot her in the face. You know, nobody died that day. You do know that. But people died in Seattle. Nobody in
40
Minneapolis.
officers
You know
were
people died in
assaulted that
Minneapolis.
day.
And nothing happens. And nobody ever talks. And nothing happens to those people. But you went after the J6 people with a vengeance. And I'll tell you what about the cops that were, and I'm all for the police, as you know, but what about the police that are ushering everybody into the Capitol? Go in, go in, go in. What about that? Look, nothing is perfect in life, but you have people from Minneapolis, you have people just from 5 days ago in Washington, D.C. They were having fistfights and fighting with the police. They were spraying and destroying, they were desecrating our monuments in Washington, D.C. 5 days ago, and nothing happened to them. And you can't have two systems of justice. That's why they went after me as a political opponent, because they felt they couldn't win without doing that. And we're going to win our cases to be vindicated, but I have to spend a lot of time on that and money. That's what they want. After the election, they won't care. Although in my case,
they
I
want
think
that
they
ass in
probably
jail.
will,
That's what they
because the
want.
hatred is pretty deep. But I'll tell you, they went after me as a political opponent. That's never happened in our country before, and it sets a terrible, terrible precedent.
What do you do on day one if you win? What's your first thing?
What do? I close the border. And I do two things, because I can do a lot of things simultaneously. I close the border. We don't want people coming in. We want.
Now, first thing he's gonna try to do is stay his ass and thank God that he won, cause other than that it'd have been his ass. Cause he going to jail, he don't win. He going to jail if he don't win. He got a lot of
Vetted,
state.
they have to be checked. They have to come in legally. We want people. I want people to come into our country, but they have to be vetted. They have to be checked. So when you say, "What do I do?"
Are you gonna throw them in cages again like you did those children back in the day? You threw children in jail. Anyway, wait, man, and then anyway, that was horrible.
Drill, baby, drill. I bring energy way down. I bring interest rates down. I bring inflation way down, so people can buy bacon again.
Drill,
so people
baby,
can
drill.
buy a ham sandwich again. So that people can go to a restaurant and. Right now, people can't buy food. Your grocery bills are up 40, 50, 60%, right? She's agreeing to me. Oh, she's agreeing. Thank you. I like you very much.
Mr. President, I think we are.
But it's true. Your grocery bills are up. And then they're mandating that you buy an all-electric car. You know, Elon Musk endorsed me, and he's a friend of mine. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy. But I'm against everybody having an electric car, okay? I'm very much against that. You have to be able to, if you want a hybrid or if you want a gasoline-propelled car. But, you know, we have more liquid gold, gasoline, oil, under our feet than any other country. More than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia more than any other country. I want to use it. I want to use what we have. I want to bring down prices, bring down costs, and I also have to stop the invasion. And remember, they're taking your jobs. These people coming in are taking your jobs.
Project 2025.
I think we have to leave it there by the Trump team.
All right.
So we'll leave it. That is the last word. Thank you so much, Mr. Trump, for coming today and joining us.
Well, thank you very much.
They've been telling us.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, very much. Great
Thank you,
honor.
Mr. President.
Thank you.
NABJ will email about details regarding the conversation with Vice President Kamala Harris in September. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anyway, now I had to go live with this one, man. He talking about they taking black jobs and all that silly stuff. Well, you know, this is Trump, man. You know, he thinks that black people are beneath him and that illegals are taking black jobs. Now, and that black people who have higher ranking jobs, like President of the United States or DEI hires. That's why I had to go live, man. That's his mentality. He has that mentality, and there's a lot of people that vote for him that have that same mentality. But I hate to say this, man. This ain't 1853 no more. And Kunta Kinte ain't jumping out. OJ ain't jumping out the tree and running down Kunta Kinte. So anyway, I'm about to go. Shout out to everybody that tuned in and got it, in the chat. I appreciate you all, spending this time with me. Y'all could be doing a lot of other things, man, but y'all chose to spend it with me. I appreciate y'all, man. PA, Texas, man.